In the months when the Civil War was nearing its end, the territory of Colorado remained a vast and primitive wilderness. These sprawling, unsettled areas were the home of an untamed people who, holding closeness to wild nature as the heart and purpose of their lives, fought stubbornly to keep it free and unsubdued. All their beliefs and emotions were drawn from it. Even their names represented individual experience with it. Gray Wolf, Little Bear, Tall Bull. A man was not given a name. It had to be earned by some achievement. And so it came that a young Cheyenne rode out into the wilderness to prove his manhood and seek a name.
Tradition of his people, my son went out seeking manhood. He rode into the country where our enemies live. He slept at night without fire. By day the sun burned his eyes, but he did not turn back. Now I ask our people to honor him by the name of Free Horse. He found it and brought it back with him. I tell all of you, it is his while he lives.
Creek, and there's no use arguing the point, Collery. I'm moving the entire Cheyenne Nation. Gray Wolf, White Antelope, Little River, the whole treacherous lot of them, right into the same spot, Sand Creek, where I can keep an eye on them.
There's only one thing, Colonel. The government gave the Cheyennes the land and the right to live on it, free from interference.
As long as they remain at peace, but don't bank on it. The Arapahoes have been sending out raiding parties for the last 2 months.
The Arapahoes aren't the Cheyennes.
Rose by any other name. Believe me, Collery, the best way to win an Indian war is to prevent it. This move to Sand Creek is a precautionary measure and military common sense.
I doubt very much if you'll be able to convince either the Cheyennes or the Indian Bureau that violating an existing treaty makes any kind of sense. As long as I'm the Indian agent for this territory, the Cheyennes will stay right where they are.
As Indian agent, can you guarantee that they won't go on the warpath?
I can guarantee that they will if they're corralled at Sand Creek, and for very good reason. You know the moment the Cheyennes move over the land, settlers will start moving in.
I'm not such a sentimental fool as to believe anything else. I know that this country was built on the graves of Indians.
And so are a few political platforms.
Look, if there were any other answer, history would have found it. The plain fact is that the Redskins will steal and hunt and murder, and the whites will work.
And vote.
All right, work and vote to turn this wilderness into a state with ranches and factories. Why, you can't stop progress, Collery, and I don't want to.
Then let's you and I stick to the things we can do, our jobs. Yours is to protect the lives and property of the inhabitants of this territory, both red and white.
The only way to do that is Sand Creek.
My job gives me and me alone complete control over Indian affairs, and I intend to keep it.
Look, Collery, your authority depends on the Cheyennes remaining at peace. If they commit one hostile act, or even so much as threaten to, they become a military problem.
Until that day arrives, the Cheyennes will stay right where they are.
100-day recruits, sir. You can't make a soldier in 100 days. I suppose you want to report to Colonel Templeton.
Yes, sir. Where are my quarters? I'd like to change into the proper uniform.
Well, this ain't West Point, sir. Out here, any uniform's proper uniform.
All right, Sergeant. Can you take care of these for me? My worldly possessions.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant? A stock saddle.
This ain't West Point, Sergeant. Out here, any saddle's the proper saddle.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Tucker to see you, sir.
All right, send him in.
Lieutenant Tucker reporting for duty, sir.
Fresh out of West Point, huh?
Graduated last June.
Too bad. I was expecting a man with a little field service behind him.
I didn't ask for the assignment.
That makes us even. Sit down, Tucker. We don't stand much on etiquette out here.
I've noticed that.
I'd like to have a look at your orders. You're a little old to be just getting out of school, aren't you?
I was a little late getting in. Another 3 months and I wouldn't have made it at all.
What took you so long?
I wasn't exactly born into it, Colonel. I had to sweat to get that appointment.
What'd you do before you got into the academy?
Well, when I was lucky, I'd get a job punching cows. When I wasn't, I had to fight for anything I could get.
And you thought soldiering would be an improvement?
That's about it. Well, I didn't see any future just kicking around, working somebody else's spread. So I decided to try to make something of myself. Besides, in the Army, a man can fight when he has to. And still be a gentleman.
By act of Congress. Well, you've set something of a precedent out here, Tucker. You're the only West Pointer in the outfit. And I imagine that makes you the only gentleman. I'm a volunteer myself. Raised my own regiment after Valverde. You, may have heard of Valverde, Tucker. That's where I did my fighting. Served under old Curtis. We attacked the Confederates, ripped them to pieces. They'll be writing about that battle in the history books someday. Might have changed the course of the whole war. Well, things quieted down some after that, and I've been sitting it out here ever since. Of course, if you don't mind heat and dust and fleas and short rations, it isn't bad. But if you're a glory hunter, there isn't much glory here.
Well, I guess I can manage without it.
Good. What kind of a trip did you have?
A little rough.
Indians?
No, just a springless wagon. As a matter of fact, we did see Indians, though.
Where was that?
Near Cherry Creek. They were having some kind of a celebration. I was certain it was a war dance until Sergeant Maddox straightened me out.
Just give me the fact, Lieutenant. I'll form my own judgment. What kind of a ceremony was it?
Maddox thought it was most probably a wedding. But I don't see how it could have been.
Why not?
No women.
You're learning fast, Lieutenant. What about kids?
Didn't see any.
How many men?
Maybe 80 or 100.
Looks like somebody's spoiling for trouble.
They seem peaceful enough from a distance, sir.
When you've been out here as long as I have, Lieutenant, you learn one thing. There is no such thing as a peaceful Indian.
I know I have a lot to learn. About a lot of things.
Well, for your own good, the sooner you get your feet wet, the better. Sit down, Lieutenant.